Hi, I'm Sharon. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through the ABRSM Theory Grades. Once you've completed your music theory and practice workbook, past papers are an excellent revision resource. I've worked with you from 2014 past papers right the way through to 2018, and now I'm really pleased to be able to bring to you the 2019 past papers as well. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. You can download these in US letter or A4 to accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and hints on how to best be prepared for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time come exam day. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel and share out the videos. And now we're going to continue with question 4 of the Grade 4 2019 past paper A. So if you turn with me to page 6, we can make a start on this together. So all of the questions on pages 6 and 7 are going to be relating back to this little extract of music here. And I do suggest that you have a little go on your own first of all. It's always better to just learn by your mistakes. Have a go. It doesn't matter if it's wrong. Always work in pencil. I use a mechanical pencil just so it's nice and sharp, and then you stay neat. And if you go wrong, you can just erase and have another go. So don't worry if you make mistakes. It's always better to learn through your mistakes. I'm hoping you've done that, and now we'll work through this paper together. So keep on referring back to this little extract here, and we'll start with question A. So we asked, how many demi-semiquavers or 30-second notes is this first note of the melody worth? We have a double dotted quaver or double dotted eighth note. And so I just prefer to diagram that out, just so I'm absolutely sure. So just while I find a bit of spare paper here, let's just look at that. So here's the quaver, the eighth note, and then we'll double dot it. So first of all, I'm going to think about breaking down this quaver, this eighth note. We know it breaks down into 2 semiquavers or 2 16th notes. And then if we break down again, that gives us 4 demi-semiquavers or 4 30-second notes. So that's 4 in the quaver, and then the dot, the first dot, is half as much again, so plus 2, and then the second dot is half of that half, as it were, so half of 2 is 1. So 4 plus 2 equals 6, plus 1 equals 7. So there's the answer to that. It's worth 7 demi-semis or 30-second notes. Now then, we're asked to name the ornament in bar 6. So look here, there are several of them actually. However, this one is the one they've pointed us to. Now this one, notice there's a little line through it. There is a similar ornament without the little line where it's divided equally. That would be the Appogiatura. Let's just make the most of this and get some good revision from it. However, this little line means it's called an Appogiatura. That's the classical term. So if you're going to be spelling that, it's double C, Appogiatura. And this is where you just sort of crush the note in, quickly squeeze it in. So it can also be called a crushed note. Alternatively, you can call it a grace note. Just a little ornament there. So any one of those will do to answer that question. Now a little bit of observation here. We're asked to look and see how many times this rhythm occurs. So it's a single dot after a semiquaver, and then we get a demi-semi. So we've got a dotted 16th note and a 30-second note. So just watch out, there's lots of dotted rhythms, but not all of them are quite that rhythm. So that's a double dotted quaver, that's no good. So's that's no good. However, here, there's our dotted semiquaver demi-semi. So there's one. There we have it again. There we have it again. and again. That's not it because that's too long. That's a dotted quaver, not a dotted semi-quaver. That's double dotted quaver. That's no good. No good here. Okay, here we go again. We have that dotted semi-quaver, dotted 16th note to a demi-semi, a 32nd. So there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. And then carrying on, yep, we get it again and we get it again. So just keeping your eyes peeled to make sure you're getting exactly the right rhythms there. Just watch out how many beams there are and so on. So let's see how many we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we get that rhythm 10 times. And now we're moving on to the performance directions. So remember, this is all of the performance directions of grades 1, 2, 3 and now 4 as well. It accumulates, so there's quite a hefty list to revise now. And if you refer to your PDF documents, at the back of the document, or if you're looking on screen as well, it might be worth just printing this page out. I'll give you a little test, just as a little bit of revision. I also give you some general information about the orchestral instruments and so on. And if you go back to the previous PDF documents, I also give you some revision tips as well. So it's a good idea to just spend a bit of time there with those documents just to help you revise. Because here, we first came across this in grade 2, and that is Sammy Staccato. It looks like an impossibility. How can you play it slurred and staccato? But overall it means semi-staccato or slightly separated. It's less aggressive than just staccato. And this was right back in grade 1. That's your repeat mark. So there we go. So keeping this page handy, because we're still going to be referring to this little extract here by Haydn. And we've still got a little bit of observation here to be careful with. We need to find out and describe by ticking one of these boxes what the difference is between bars 3 and bar 8. So let's have a look. So bar 3, bar 8. So we're looking at these two here. So the rhythms are exactly the same because we've already just done that work, haven't we? However, this starts on a C, this starts on an A, and so the pitch is different. That is the only difference, because if you notice, the tempo, the tempo is the same, nothing's changed. The dynamic's the same as well. So the only thing that changes is the pitch. So that's that. Now then, we're asked to write as a breve, or a double whole note, the enharmonic equivalent of the last note of the melody. So let's see what we've got here. We're in treble clef, and that's a G. Make sure you get the correct octave though. It's the G above middle C. Remember that middle C, if you just picture a piano keyboard, is at the bottom of the treble, the top of the bass. Imagine you've met in the middle, that's middle C, and this is the G above that. And so enharmonic equivalents could be, for example, F double sharp, or it could be A double flat. It's well worth your time just spending a minute just sketching out a piano keyboard just for your reference. Even if you don't play piano, it's a good visual aid here. So it could be F double sharp or it could be A double flat. Either of those will do, but just make sure you get the correct octave. So this was the G above middle C, so this would be the F double sharp. Alternatively, just above, that would be the A double flat. So any one of those two will do. Now then, we're asked to note how many times does the leading note occur. We're in G major. The leading note is the 7th degree of the scale. It leads on to the tonic. So you could either just count up G, A, B, C, D, E, F for number 7, or you could count it up on the piano. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Of course it's F sharp, but your key signature will deal with that. Or, to be absolutely sure, remember you always count number 1. Just write out an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we see that 7 is F. So now we're looking for how many note F sharps. The key signature does that for us though. So we're in treble clef, so just beware and think, well, it could be in this pitch here because the space is spelled face, F-A-C-E, so it could be this F here, this space, or it could be every good boy deserves football. It could be this top line here. Either one of those is still F sharp, the leading note. So let's have a look and see what we can find. So just looking through, so there's one. So I'll circle it, that might be better. Keep looking, there's a low one. There's one. A high one, here's another high one, and here's a low one. So I think that's it. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 examples of the leading note here. So that's soon sorted. There we go. Now then, we need to rewrite bar 2, so we're looking at this bar here without the ornament. So we haven't got to bother about the grace note, the Appogiatura, but we do need to consider what new time signature that will be. So then let's just think what we've got here. We have 2 beats in a bar, so we need to stay in duple time, and at present this time signature here is counting in quarter notes, 2 quarter notes or crotchet beats. And so if I just move this along so we can compare the two, we still need to stay in duple time, 2 beats. We can't change the musical effect, but we need to double the unit that we are counting in. And so instead of counting in quarter notes or crotchet beats, we're going to be counting in minims or half notes. And so our time signature will still have 2 at the top, but now the bottom number will be 2 to show half notes or minim beats. And so now we need to think how we're going to double everything. So looking again at bar 2, so we're not worrying about the ornament, we've been told we can forget that. And then to double everything, we basically lose a beam. And so this becomes a crotchet, a quarter note. These, instead of being demi-semis, just become semis. Lose this beam, so that becomes a double dotted crotchet or quarter note. And so this will become a semiquaver, a 16th note by losing that beam. So that's the thinking done. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to write out the blobs first of all. So there we go. So we can, hopefully we can fit all that in. I can move that over a bit. Okay, that should be plenty of room. So we need a top B. I'm just going to get the blobs in the right place first of all. And then ledger line, space down in step. And then we need the double dotted D. We don't change the musical effect, so it's still double dotted. And then we need the E. However, now that won't be joined because that's just a crotchet or a quarter note. These will be beamed together, but now we just need 2 beams, not 3, because these are semiquavers now, 16th notes. And so the D has no tail, it's just a double dotted crotchet or quarter note, and then this one will be a semiquaver on its own. So 2 little kicks at the bottom instead of 3. There we go. And then we can just double check. There's 1 minim beat. There's the next minute beat, so it adds up, and we know we've got that correct. So that's that done. Now then, let's have a look at section C. And so we've got some general orchestral knowledge here that we need to tap into. We need to name 2 standard orchestral instruments, one from the string family and one from the woodwind family, that could play this melody at the appropriate pitch. And so what they're asking us is, we need to find a string and a woodwind that can play happily in this treble region. So we need to make sure it's a high instrument and not a bass instrument. So in the string family, the most obvious one for that would first of all be the violin. I think we could safely say the viola could manage that, because it's not extremely high in the register, but it's a less obvious one. And the harp will also manage that easily. So any one of those will do, but I think the violin's the easiest and obvious one for that. And then for woodwind, again in the high treble register, flute is the obvious choice at the top of the orchestral score. Oboe will also manage that fine, and so will clarinet. So any one of those will do. And now, just out of general interest, we need to name the lowest sounding member of the brass family. And that's the tuba. You could say bass tuba, that would also be acceptable, although bass tuba isn't always part of the orchestra, whereas the tuba really is. And then, finally, we just need to think about some percussion instruments, and we need to find out of this list 2 instruments that are part of the percussion family. The percussion family is basically anything that you hit, sort of with a stick kind of thing. That's a very basic definition, isn't it? So the bassoon, of course, won't do, because that's a woodwind instrument. That's a bass woodwind instrument. It's double reeded as well, just to squeeze every last drop of revision. And the double bass is the lowest of the string family. Just out of interest as well, bear in mind the bassoon does not transpose. The double bass actually plays an octave lower than it's written. It actually sounds an octave lower than it's written. And so that leaves us with cymbals, nice clashing cymbals, and the bass drum. There we go. That's the end of that question. I do hope that's helpful to you. I hope it's helping you with your studies. These past papers are an excellent revision resource. I hope you're enjoying getting to grips with the subject. I'm certainly enjoying working through it with you. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. Please also do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.